so getting back to what I was saying, the last time I said I wasn't going to look like I did. Well, ta-da. I obviously don't look like I did. I've got no makeup on. I got this bloody little, I'll get to that. Looks a bit ratchet, so if people are a bit queasy, I'll cover it up for you. I didn't do a very good job, but there you go. Still got the short hair, but look a bit ratch, so I thought maybe I'd chuck a beanie on just to cover it up because I don't like it. I'm currently in the St. Vincent's Hospital, and I am in their oncology ward, so I'm not going to say why. I'll get into that story in our next episode, but I'm going to continue on, continue on from a bit about me, part 1, episode 1. So this is going to be episode 2, a bit about me, part 2. Okay, so carrying on from what I was saying in the last episode was I had gotten home, that's right, and I had to start treatment, and everything was literally thrown on top of me. I had no way to process because it was just a shock. So there was one particular day where I had to go into the Sydney Children's Hospital, and I had to go into their clinic rooms, and these clinic rooms are like the outpatients rooms, so people go in, get their treatment, and they can go home. And I remember walking in with my long blonde hair, tan skin. I think I was quite fit, and I walked in and I see all these kids with bald heads and like tubes, and like they all look the same, and I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked, and I was like, oh my god, like this is it. This is so surreal. And I remember meeting with a nurse, and they sat me on the bed and they went through what they had to do that day, and they were going to do a lumbar puncture, which is a needle into the spinal fluid, and they were going to inject, take out some of the spinal fluid, and they were going to inject methotrexate, which is a type of chemotherapy. And then they were also doing a bone marrow biopsy, which they do in your pelvis, where they take a bit of bone marrow, like a sample of bone marrow, they take it out, and they test how much cancer is in there. So I had that done, and they were like, okay, you don't need to stay. You can go home, but we're going to start you on a thing called Pred. I can't remember the full name. I think it might be prednisone, and it's a type of steroid. Well, I got home, and I remember having this Pred, and I was just getting hungrier and hungrier, and I was craving chicken. Like, I just wanted chicken. I just wanted Maccas. And I was like, what's going on? Like, I'm normally not like this chubby kid that just wants Maccas all the time, but I wanted Maccas all the time. And I was getting Maccas all the time. And the doctor explained to me and was like, that is Pred. Pred is literally, we're trying to fatten you up so you're ready for like when you start chemo. I was like, okay, well, I'm an 18-year-old girl and I really don't want to be fat. And he's like, you're gonna trust me, you're gonna want to trust me. But okay, whatever, I'm putting my life into your hands. So from there, I came into the hospital after a few days rest, and it was time for me to get my insertion of my line. So there is a few different types of lines that you can get. You can get a PICC line, which is normally like in the arm area, and it looks like a cannula, but it's a little bit longer, and it can stay in for quite a while. You can get a Hickman, which is what I've currently got. It sits on the outside, but it goes into the main blood vessel, and it has, let me show you. Okay. It has these 3 little dingly bits. So these 3 little dingly bits here are able we're able to take blood out of them, and we're able to connect chemo to them. So you can get them with 2 lumens. So these are called lumens, by the way. So you can either get them with 2 lumens, or if you're going to have heaps and heaps of chemo and heaps of treatment, you get them with 3 lumens. You get a white one, you get a red one, and the third is the blue one. So let me put them back. And you can get them, you normally get them up on your chest, that's where mine is, but I just have mine tucked away today because I don't want to be filming and I don't want them to be hanging out. Or you can get them underneath your boobs, which is where I would have, well, that's where I had my, hang on, I'll get to that. The third line is a portacath, which is, it's like a thing. I never actually saw what it looked like, but it is an access pot that sits underneath your skin, and you need to access it with a needle, right? So it's sitting underneath your skin. This looks a bit funny, I don't know, but don't judge. And you access it with a needle, and then that needle feeds in the chemo and all the other stuff that you need to get, but it sits underneath the skin. So when you leave the hospital, you're allowed to shower and like do things normally, because it can get wet. With the other lines, they can't get wet, otherwise that's a risk of infection because they're sitting on the outside of your body. Anyway, so the hospital had decided that I was to get a port just because they thought it'd be more comfortable for me being a girl and wanting to shower. So they prepped me ready for surgery to get this port inserted, and I remember going under, going to sleep and waking up and feeling so incredibly sore. I was so incredibly sore because they inserted the port on the right side of my torso. I'll insert a picture of it here. It's a bit bloody, it's a bit disgusting. That's because the morning after my port insertion, I had an internal bleed. And that was from the insertion of the port. So I bled from the inside, in my abs, so between the wall of my muscle and my skin, I had a massive bleed, and it caused a hematoma, and that's where all my problems started, because that hematoma became an agar plate for bacteria and for fungus and for all those things that were on my body, in my body, because I had no immune system. I had no way to fight these things off. So that was the first hiccup that we, as a family and myself, had to deal with. And it was hard because we had to bathe it, and we had to make sure that it didn't continue bleeding, which it did, and they didn't want to take the port out because they wanted to start chemo. And the port was still accessible, so they were still able to use it. So they got me through the first round of chemo. And I don't really remember the first round of chemo that too much. And the parts that are coming up, I'm not going to be able to remember too much either, because it's kind of, in a good way, it's kind of good, as when you get really sick, your brain kind of shuts down, and it allows you to not remember the things that were horrific. And I'm grateful for that, because if I did remember those things, I don't think I'd be the person I am today, and I don't think I would be as strong as I am. But I'm trying to remember snippets just so I can tell you what happened. So from then on, I was in hospital because I kept spiking temperatures. And we had no idea where these temperature spikes were coming from until we found that I had grown fungal lesions from having the port in. Now, these fungal lesions had decided to grow in my lungs, they were in my liver, they were in my spleen, and they were in my kidney. And this is... Okay, so my nurse just came in telling me I have to put my eye drops in my eyes. So I did that, and she's about to come in again and give me some Maxolon, which is an anti-nausea drug, as I start my intravenous chemo today. I wasn't supposed to say that. Oh, that's coming up for my next story. But let me continue with this story anyway. So I can't remember what I was up to. Oh yes, the fungal spores. They were everywhere, and they were causing me to get really, really sick. So there was a point where I was so sick that they had to send me down to ICU. Now these are the bits that I don't remember, but I know that I had so yes, I had very toxic body, and my lungs collapsed, my kidney began to fail, my liver was not working as what it should have been working as, I couldn't breathe, so it wasn't just the cancer that was killing me, it was everything else. It was the fungal, it was the bacteria. And at one point they thought that I wasn't going to make it. And I don't remember this at all. My parents do, and we don't like talking about it because I'm here now, I soldiered on. But yes, there was a point where everyone, all my family, were called to the hospital to say their goodbyes. And I certainly believe that was a hard thing. Okay, just for a little sneak peek, just want to show you what she has put up. There's the pump. Look at it already. And my lines are out. She's going to use my white line. This one. And the chemo I'm getting tonight is called flutarabine. Goes for 30 minutes, and then I get another one that goes for 4 hours. So I might be a bit sick. We'll see. But you know what? I'm gonna stop right here. I'll continue. I'm gonna make a part 3. Because I'm kind of mushing both of my cancer stories together, and I don't want to do that. So I'll edit this. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe. It means the world to me, and it allows me to give you an insight into the world of people who are going through something like this. I'm not going to film all the happy bits, like today was a bit of a quiet day, but yesterday was definitely a shit go. And I was quite tired and quite sore. But I'll try and get bits that allow you to see actually like action footage of what happens. But it's quite late and I need to get this down before they hang up the chemo. And I actually want to watch an episode of Bachelor in Paradise, so I've missed 3, so I've got a lot to catch up on. But see you guys.